Welcome to Daddy Issues. Conversations with Dads. A podcast from Fathers and Families Center of Indianapolis, Indiana. Hey, welcome to Daddy Issues. I'm Jason Acquisto, along with Larry Smith, the president of Fathers and Families Center. Hey, Larry Smith, everybody.
Hey.
Our guest is Matt Landry, pastor of Castleton United Methodist Church, and a friend of mine, also a big baseball fan. So glad to have you, Pastor Matt.
Yep. Meet you, Larry.
Pleasure.
Yeah, I think we follow each other on Facebook.
Oh, do we? Okay.
So welcome to Daddy Issues. This is a conversation where we just like to be encouraging to other fathers. We don't claim to be experts or have all the answers, but we like to bring in folks who will add to the conversation as we all strive to be the best fathers in a challenging time. Larry, let me ask you, how's everything since you dropped off both the kids at college?
Wow. Talk about, transitions. The short answer is things are going well. It's interesting being an empty nester now, but all the kids are doing well. So I won't complain.
Tell me, one's in New York and one's in
DC.
Tell me where they are.
DC. Yes, at Howard University and New York University, NYU.
Nice. So, and Matt, your boys are young, and so what ages are they?
Yeah, so Zeke is my oldest boy. He's 9. He'll be 10 in a couple months. And then I have a kindergartner, Luke, who just turned 6.
Right. So what have they been up to? How was their summer? What did they spend their time doing this summer?
Yeah, we were outside like all summer, which was wonderful. So my boys love to be outside playing all the sports, especially baseball, of course, playing wiffle ball, catch, name it. So we spent a lot of time outside, which was wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Matt gets his love for baseball honestly, and he grew up in Northwest Indiana.
Okay.
South Bend.
Yeah, I grew up about an hour from South Bend. So South Bend Silverhawks.
Okay.
So that was kind of my home team that introduced me to baseball. Then I ended up serving as a pastor at First United Methodist Church in downtown South Bend for years, and then had the chance to introduce my boys to baseball at the same ballpark that I grew up going to, which was pretty awesome. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's a movie right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
One of the things I like about our guests is that we all have different age children.
Yes.
We want to be. So Larry he was a young father, so now he is actually a grandfather, if you can believe that. We all have different age kids, and they're all different challenges. Can you imagine having kids right now, kindergarten and elementary school age?
That's crazy. I understand. And, as a grandfather, so my grandchildren are 5 and 4. And so having kids during the pandemic, at the height of the pandemic, is pretty crazy. They're both now at the Oaks Academy, which is where my 2 younger ones went. So great, Christ-centered school. But yeah, we forgot though, Jason. We always open with a dad joke.
Oh yeah, so let's not forget our dad jokes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You got one ready? Go ahead.
I do. I created a new type of ATM that only give coins. I don't know why nobody thought of it before. It just makes sense.
Woo, all right. You know what? I've got a list on my phone here, so I've always got them handy because if somebody at work needs one, I've got it.
Absolutely.
So just give me a minute. It just makes sense. Matt, you have a dad joke?
Yeah, I was just trying to think about it as Larry shared. I don't have a good dad joke to share, although my boys think I'm funny still, which is a blessing. So
yeah, that goes away.
That's gonna go away. That's right. It hasn't yet, and I'll take it for now.
Dude, I just Googled dad jokes, new dad jokes. One of the ones that popped up is the ATM. It just makes sense.
Yes.
So it's making the rounds.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. I will go ahead and tell you, though, that as far as raising kids and that whole thing, like it must be tough going through the whole dating thing. And Matt, you're not there yet, but like when people go on dates, like the time that 2 slices of bread went on a date, when that happened, that was loaf at first sight. So,
boom, cha-ching.
So I weave it into the conversation. You see what I did there?
But then, to answer your question, Jason, and get to the topic at hand, like the fact that you mentioned Gleaner. So at Fathers and Families, we actually have a strong relationship with Second Helpings, which they've served our bin on and off for about 20 years. And in fact, last year, they chose us as the site of serving their 20 millionth meal. So
Nice.
really, really honored by that. And of course, the president of Gleaners, Fred Glass, one of the great, sort of unsung Hoosier heroes. Some people know, he was an attorney in his former life, then was the athletic director at IU. And now he runs Gleaners, just a great gentleman, humanitarian, great guy. And then finally with baseball, I don't even know if we've had an occasion to talk about this, Jason, but I actually went to college with Hal Steinbrenner, who now, of course, owns the Yankees.
Oh, no, you never mentioned that.
Yeah, I guess he just never came up. So we ran track together in college. He was a hurdler.
Really?
Yeah, so very quick George Steinbrenner story. He decided to now, this is in Williamstown. It's Williams College, Williamstown, Massachusetts, town of like 5,000 or 6,000 people. And he comes to one of our track meets. He'd actually given the money to do the track and all that. He's got these huge bodyguards on either side of him sitting in the stands. Well, Hal was a hurdler. And unfortunately for him, the day that his dad shows up, he false started. Right. So George Steinbrenner comes tearing down the stands, yelling at the starter, wagging his finger, going, "I'm on the U.S. Olympic Committee. You're just a local." I mean, and Hal, we felt so bad for him. He's turning beet red, yelling at his dad, "Dad, shut up! Dad, shut up!" We felt so bad. But the guy who you saw on Seinfeld, that is George Steinbrenner. Now, generous to a fault, that loves people. Obviously, he's deceased now. But if you did something wrong in his sight, he was on you like that. So anyway, so that's about as close a connection to baseball as I have. But being a dad, raising kids today, Jason mentioned your kids were born pretty much near the pandemic. A few years before them, we had a generation that was born during 9/11. So these are some tough times in which to raise children. So what has been your approach in sort of in the wake of raising kids during the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much out there today, right? There's so much news, and a lot of it is hard and bad news. And so I think it's really hard to help kids navigate and understand the larger world that's out there. And especially, so my oldest son, Zeke, started kindergarten right after, kind of the height of the lockdown of the pandemic. He had to go to school with a mask. And so trying to explain to him, what all that was and why we were doing it, taking the extra time to kind of help kids, especially the younger kids, understand kind of what's going on. Well, also, I think like helping them have a narrative of goodness and beauty in the midst of all the challenge, of finding good and beautiful things in the world still, as we navigate such a difficult time. Things are just so complicated with everything. Everything's political and divisive, and it seems like you can't even for kids who go to school, with people of different, ethnicities or religious groups or what have you. That they're hearing things and they're trying to make sense of it all, and some of those things being very difficult and even negative toward other folks. And so, like helping them to see, the goodness in other people and the goodness of the world that still exists and the beauty that's there.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's an interesting question too to ask, Larry, because it's not just how about having kids now at this age in 2025 as you try to explain the world to them, but as they grew up, because the pandemic is a different thing. We don't think about it as much now. Now we're trying to deal with the things in today's world. My son in the pandemic was a sophomore in high school, a unique time to be at that age.
Yeah.
And your son would have been in junior high, Larry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
Interesting times. You're listening to Daddy Issues. We'll be right back after a short break.
Your day moves fast. Your news should too. That's why there's a new and improved Wish TV app, bringing you more local news, breaking alerts, live streaming, weather forecasts, radar, and Indiana sports, all in one place. Customize your news feed to see the stories that matter most to you and get the information you need when you need it. Download the new and improved Wish TV app today on iOS or Android and take News 8 with you everywhere.
And now, back to daddy issues. Otherwise, easy as pie, just bringing up a kid in today's world. No hard questions at all. How do you feel like things are going around the Indianapolis area? Because I know one of the things you've also made part of your ministry is, I would call it, a campaign for peace, and neighborhood violence and community violence. Both of you are advocates for peace in our community and have held prayer vigils and advocating for those things in our community. So how do you think things are going? I mean, I'd ask both of you that, how do you feel now?
Yeah, well, I think, for me, when I was serving at Meridian Street United Methodist here in Indianapolis, I started there in 2015. And I remember, we lived in the Butler Tarkington neighborhood. And I remember a 10-year-old, his name was Deshaun. I'll never forget Deshaun. He was shot and killed in the south side of the neighborhood. And I was preparing myself to be a dad and thinking about an 8-year-old who was shot and killed in the neighborhood that I lived in and pastored in, and how, as a person of faith, as a religious leader, as a dad, I couldn't ignore it. I had to respond with faith and with prayer. And so I remember joining a prayer vigil and a walk on the south part of our neighborhood and meeting some of the neighbors who, we all kind of grieved together of this loss of this boy. And that really made an impact on me as a soon-to-be father and as a pastor. And so as we moved up to South Bend and I served in downtown South Bend, we had a similar situation where we had gun violence across the streets. And I kept telling the congregation, like, the least we can do is go out and be a prayerful and peaceful presence in our community. And we did just that, and we did that multiple times. And since I moved back to Indianapolis on the northeast part of the city, we also had gun violence. There was a 3-year-old a couple of years ago who was shot and killed just down the street from our church. And I spoke at the young man's funeral and met the family. And again, as a father and as a clergy person, just my heart broke for family, for the faith community that was grieving with them and helping them. And so there's a lot of difficult realities right here on the streets, right here, that neighbors are facing. But while in the midst of that, I also see people who are wanting to respond in so many different ways that I think is beautiful and is a good and holy response. People who are wanting to know neighbors, people who are wanting to be out and to be prayerful and to be, trying to share the tenets of peace and nonviolence with others. And I see other people and other organizations stepping up to the plate to when it comes to food insecurity or housing insecurity. So I think in the midst of all those realities, there are many, many people who are trying to do really great things in our community. And we don't often hear that in the news, of course. I mean, the shootings, violence makes the news, but we don't often hear of the great things that people are doing.
Creating opportunities to serve.
Yeah, exactly.
Creating opportunities for us to serve our neighbors.
Yeah, Pastor, I'm glad you ended up on that note about the positive things that people are doing. It is hard to keep sight of sometimes. In Fathers and Families, just a couple of weeks ago, we had a situation where one of our young grads, so just for context, you can come as young as 16. I was a 16-year-old dad, although that policy started long before I got to the organization, but you can be as young as 16, 16 to 116. There may be some Abrahams out there, I don't know, but there's no upper age limit. But a few weeks ago, one of our young fathers, just 19 years old, really put a lot of effort into the program, was turning his life around, was at Family Dollar, and the details are still somewhat sketchy, but there was some kind of verbal altercation. This is right at 60th and Michigan Road. Goes out of the store and is shot and killed by whoever he was in the argument with. And I went to the funeral representing our organization and so on. And you just kind of go, I mean, why, right? Why 19, right? Just cut down as a child, basically. But then, you see people rally around the family. His friends at the funeral service spoke so passionately about him and what he was trying to do and, being a young father and all that. And so you couldn't help but take a little bit of hope from a very, very tragic situation.
Well, there's so much tragedy, sadness. The thing I like too is that it creates these opportunities. This is Daddy Issues.
We'll be right back after this short break. And now back to the show.
One of the things that I love most about having you as a pastor is your love for baseball and serving others through baseball and the 30 days of catch. It's just kicked off. I believe it's the third year in a row. Tell us how it all started with a game of catch that helps to feed families around our area.
Yeah, so this started back in 23. It was, I guess, a couple years ago now. And we have served the last 3 years with Gleaner's Food Bank in the northeast part of the city. And so we started serving with our mobile food pantry program, where we serve 400 to 500 families per week by Gleaner's bringing the semi over to the northeast part of the city. And there's a drive-through line that we offer food then to those guests who come. And so it was a really impactful program when we started that back in 23. The summer of 23. And at the same time, I remember my boys who just loved baseball. And we played catch nearly every day. And we were in the local library and we found a book called A Year of Playing Catch by Ethan Bryan, who lives in Missouri. And I remember looking at the book thinking, kind of interesting. I'm not going to get it. Put it back. And I'm like, well, okay, it's a library. I'm going to go ahead and take it off the shelf and read it. And took it home and read it like in a couple of days. Just loved the concept of connecting with people who catch. And at the end of this book, he has a 30-day challenge. So try it. Just go out for 30 days, play catch with different people, and just have a conversation to get to know someone. And so I kept thinking, like, how could I make that into a fundraiser? How could I connect that with the work of Gleaners and inviting people to be generous and connecting with different people in the community by playing catch? And so that first year, I had the goal of raising about $7,500, which is the cost of the mobile food pantry per week to get the food, to get the truck, gas, staff, $7,500. And I would just give this a shot. And so I started in and quickly blew past that first goal and ended up just kept moving the goal. And so I've done this now. This is my third year that I've done this. And I've been able to raise $54,000 the first 2 years. All by playing catch with different people for 30 days, getting the word out on social media, online, and just connecting with people. And so it's been amazing. You go back to that question of like, what do you see that's happening in the community today? And, I see people responding to need if you give them a chance to be generous, and not a single person has said no to playing catch. So like, what a great cause. And love the idea of being outside, playing catch, connecting with somebody. But then when I've invited people to donate toward this cause, they're like, absolutely, I'll give $10 or $30, or had a few people who've given some $100 to the campaign. So giving people an opportunity to be generous has been amazing.
Pretty cool. It's so much fun, and I was lucky enough to be part of it in that first year. We met up and we just played a game of catch, and it's such a ritual that is not just for fathers and sons, which is pretty much a sacrament in my view, but like the idea of playing catch with another grown man, there's something that's communal about that, like you said, you chit chat, you get to know that person, and there's something that really connects you. You play catch for 15 minutes, whatever, and then you feel like you got something between you. And so that's what I loved about it. And then on top of that, it's just such a simple and beautiful story. I'm so glad that we had the chance to also, you brought Ethan to church to speak to everyone. Yeah, spoiler alert, Matt is my pastor at Castleton Church. So I got to see and meet him too. And great guy, tells the story. And I was just so happy to be a part of that. So who else have you met playing catch with over the past 3 years?
Yeah, so I've played catch with 2 state senators. One of those being downtown at the State House. I played with general managers of all kinds of different minor league ball teams at their ballparks. I played with 2 former big leaguers, including a member of my church who I didn't actually know was a big leaguer until I started talking about baseball.
Right, Bernie.
Bernie Allen. Guy, he played for the Twins, Senators, Yankees.
Yeah,
Rose had a great career in Major League Baseball, and so played catch with him. He was my first catch participant. He hadn't played catch for years, and we met at the park. And I kid you not, he would not stop. He kept going. I was like, are you getting tired, Bernie? Do you want to stop? And nope, it just came right back to him like riding a bike. And
That's so great. I'm so glad he played. Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. He was just telling me stories about his days of playing, and that's the gift of playing catch. Some of these folks I met for the first time catch, and just hearing about family and how they've connected with grandparents or parents or their kids all through baseball, and just having that, because I always ask my catch participant, so who do you cheer for? And sometimes, well, not really baseball, more of a Colts guy. All right, well, tell me about that, or I cheer for the Pacers or IU basketball, whatever. But 9 times out of 10, I hear about, I cheer for the Cubs because Dad did, and his dad took him to Wrigley. Or in Jason's case, I learned, Jason's family and the connection.
Yeah, cool. And the thing is, to play other sports, it takes a high level. I mean, anyone can play catch. It's not a high level of skill required. Just toss it around, right? You've gotten to meet some impressive people. I didn't mean to put myself in that category. State senators. And then today, I believe just today, you played with someone from the Indianapolis Indians. And like you said, other minor league clubs. So it's just something I'm super proud of, too, when I tell people about my church, my pastor, not only doing things in the community, but doing things in a fun and interesting way that connects with people. You get to know your church members, your church family, but then raising that money as well. So, yeah. So, Larry, I know you have a heart for, and so does Fathers and Families, for feeding the hungry in our community. So Gleaner's a big part of that. And you mentioned Mr. Glass, too. I believe that he's been a part of our relationship.
Yeah, actually I played with Fred Glass last year. Actually, the last 2 years, and I just played with him this week. I was at the Gleaner's warehouse, southwest side of the city. Played catch with him in the warehouse inside, throwing the ball back and forth as some of the Gleaner staff walks by, and seeing these two guys playing catch where food's normally being distributed. And it was a lot of fun. And I can't speak highly enough of Fred and the entire staff at Gleaners. They're just an amazing group of people who really have a heart to serve. And so, I think about an organization to get behind, not just that the church has benefited from of their support of the mobile food pantry in our part of the city and working with us there, but just the spirit and the amazing work that Gleaners does. I can't speak highly enough of it. So I'm really proud to be able to work with them, but also then support them through 30 Days of Catch for the last few years.
How can someone learn more about and possibly even get involved with 30 Days of Catch?
Yeah, I'd invite you to follow my journey on Facebook. So that's our official kind of site that I'm posting each day of who I play catch with. So you can just look up facebook.com/30 Days of Catch. The full name is 30 Days of Catch for Gleaner's Food Bank of Indiana. That's the full name. If you would like to give a donation and learn more, you can go to give.gleaners.org/catch 2025.
Nice.
So that has the kind of the story, tells a little bit of the story. It has information of how you could donate. I've also worked now this year with the Old Fort Baseball Company in Fort Wayne. They made a cool logo that features kind of the city of Indianapolis skyline, the city of Indianapolis flag, and it says 30 Days of Catch for Gleaners. And so we have shirts and stickers for sale, and you can get to that link through that
nice.
giving site. So
merch just in time for gift giving season.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Good.
Yeah.
Join us next time for part 2 of our conversation with Matt Landry, pastor of Castleton United Methodist Church. Thanks for listening to Daddy Issues. Be sure to connect with us on social media. Feel free to email us, dads@thedaddyissuespodcast.com. Daddy Issues is a podcast from the Fathers and Family Center of Indianapolis, Indiana. To learn more about the programs of Fathers and Family Center, visit fathersandfamilycenter.org.